The Ravens played Cincinnati. Now, they beat them 20-0. This is without Flacco ever throwing a pass in the preseason. Completely shut him down. Dalton throws 4 interceptions. Looked about as bad as you could look. Although the Ravens do bring a good defense, and they always have. That's one of their strong points for sure. They're a dangerous team. They're an ugly team when you watch them play, but they somehow get it done. And it's got to go back to coaching. They don't have a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side, but they know how to put it together. What the Bengals don't have, they've had a decent coach regular season-wise for years, and they've always done well. But when we get to the playoffs, they have not. And their head coach, Marvin Lewis, is probably 1 or 2 to go first. And the other one would be Chuck Pagano. They would be my top 2 guys to go first. I think because you might give a little bit of a pass to Pagano because he doesn't have Andrew Luck, but he also didn't prepare to not have Andrew Luck. Depending on Scott Tolzien, that was a stupid decision there. But Cincinnati does have Andy Dalton, which is their first choice at quarterback, and they have a lot of weapons. Better team than the Colts, but they played horribly yesterday. So he might get another week, maybe 2. But if he doesn't turn it around, he might be gone. And people have been calling for his head for a long time. The Ravens this week, what do the Ravens do? Oh, they play at home against Cleveland, who played a representative game last week against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh should have beaten them by more, but Pittsburgh does that. They sleepwalk through games at times. And with all their talent on offense, Roethlisberger and company and all those running backs, and they're a great offensive line, those great wide receivers, they just take half a game off. They'll play half a game, and the other half they won't play. And it could go back to coaching, could go back to discipline. I say discipline and coaching are probably the reasons. Somebody's got to step on their butt and make them move and make them play up to potential, but they don't do it all the time, so that's why they're dangerous to lay up a lot of points with in situations where they might take the team lightly. Of course, they would take Cleveland lightly because they beat them like a drum every year. But Cleveland played pretty decent. They have a reasonably good rookie quarterback who made some moves yesterday, played well, made some mistakes. He's a rookie. What do you want? It's going to happen. So Pittsburgh this week is going to host Minnesota, who we have not seen play yet because they're playing tonight. And I better speed this up or we'll be doing this for about 3 hours. I guess you can chop it up and make it into little segments. But we don't know what Minnesota's going to do. They're playing the Saints tonight. In Pittsburgh, I saw an opening of 4 up to 7. Pittsburgh over Minnesota. I think because basically what I said, Pittsburgh could have played better, they just didn't. And Minnesota's playing tonight with a short week, then going to Pittsburgh. And you never know. If there's some books out there willing to take a bet at 7 or 7.5 because, Minnesota could get somebody hurt. And then you have all the best of it. So if you're one of those people and you can find that 7, you probably lay it. I wouldn't lay any more than that. But because there is always the possibility that you'll end up with an edge on the injury side. Okay, so now we go. Cleveland is going to Baltimore. We talked about Baltimore. That's a division game also. So it's back-to-back division games for both these teams. And they're tough. I've seen some 8s on this go down to 7.5, and I do see that teaser, that one place that puts up teaser numbers, he's got it 9. So total's at 41, which is a reasonably low total in this day and age. But you don't see a lot of points by a rookie against the Baltimore defense. And Cleveland has a pretty good defense, too, so you're not going to probably see a lot of points, but 41's a low number. I'd like to get a little bit more if I was going to bet that under. I don't think you're going to see that because I just saw a number pop at one of the books I respect at 40.5. So 41 might be the biggest number you're going to see. And there's also possibility of weather. There's a lot of weather on the East Coast, as we know, and I know by Sunday that could all dissipate, but you never know. Okay, we go to the next game. Indianapolis played the Rams. We talked about what a shit show they are. Let's talk a little bit about the Rams. Rams' new coach, no more Jeff Fisher, Mr. 8-8 or 7-9. I don't know how he kept his job so long, but he was definitely, his early years in the league were much better than his later years, and he did not do a good job. Now they got the new coach there. You're going against Washington, who's another dysfunctional outfit. They should have signed their quarterback to a contract. Instead, he's working on a franchise tag. Doesn't look to me like Washington is going to be very representative this year of a top-flight team going forward. They didn't do terribly against Philadelphia yesterday, but when you lose to a division rival at home, that's a bad mark. The Rams are 2.5, 46. Hard to know how good the Rams are because they played a high school team yesterday, so I'm not going to make too much of a judgment there. Seattle and Packers yesterday. Well, I'll tell you what, Green Bay is a solid contender. It's going to be tough to beat Aaron Rodgers. He's absolutely an incredible quarterback. They go to Atlanta this week. I talked a little bit about that. I'm not going to try to fade Aaron Rodgers unless I'm really going. I mean, it's just so tough. He can make plays. He's got a lot of confidence. They played a tough physical game yesterday against a team that plays a tough physical style. It's not always easy to bounce back from playing Seattle because that is a very rough team to play. And they hit hard. And they play an intimidating type of ball. Granted, great game, 17-9 victory. Most of those points came on a play where Seattle wasn't able to get the player off the field in time. Aaron Rodgers, who's smart as they come, saw it, made a quick count, got the ball, threw a long pass, to what's his name, Nelson, and that was the only, that was it. Seattle has problems, guys. I mean, when they lost Fang a couple weeks ago, I mentioned it, and I was hoping that they would be able to replace him as a left tackle. But Russell Wilson, I think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. I think Russell Wilson's second. But this guy has no protection. I mean, my goodness. I don't know how they're going to get by with this offensive line. That's it's almost as bad as the New York Giants, which we saw against Dallas last night. Horrible offensive line. They pay all these quarterbacks all this money, and then they don't protect them. It makes no sense. You can't pay most of your money to a quarterback and then not protect him, because guess what? He won't be on the field. He won't be playing, and so all that money you're paying is going to be sitting at home or on the sideline with his leg up in a cast.
He'll be in the hospital.
So, it's exactly. This is an insane league, who are run by a bunch of suits that don't understand what the hell they're doing. Run the ball. That helps protect your quarterback. Get yourself an offensive line and run the ball. That keeps these star quarterbacks on the field and able to do what they do. This business of the running backs don't matter. You don't have to open holes. You don't have to. It's bullshit. Watch that pendulum swing. because you can't keep doing this. And you can't find that many great quarterbacks. They're just not out there. They're not born yet. So that's me venting on what they're doing in this league, but that's why we're seeing bad football in a lot of cases. Seattle is going to have their problems. Even against a team like San Francisco, they're going to have their problems. Not that San Francisco is that good, but they will get better. They have a decent head coach. Not that he's experienced as a head coach, but we know what he can do as an offensive coordinator. And if he gets enough assistant coaches to help do what he needs to do, they can be a little bit dangerous. I'm not talking so much on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side, they can cause trouble. And Seattle's offense needs a lot of help. And so they're laying 13 and 12, and then it settled at 12 and 12 and a half out there. And we're looking at 43 in the number. It's Seattle's home opener off the tough loss at Green Bay. And San Francisco, of course, is coming in off of getting wiped out by the Panthers, who was a pretty good football team. Not a great football team, but a pretty good football team. The Panthers' defense is going to be good, but you can't measure too much against a San Francisco team that's got everything about their offensive scheme changed. You got a new quarterback, new head coach, offensive coordinator, everything's changed. So that's going to be the advantage that Seattle has this week is the advantage that Carolina had last week. So you have to watch that. Don't expect a lot, but Panthers were laying 4 to them last week. Seattle's laying 13, 12 and a half, 13. So that's a big difference. Tough call. It's hard to make these calls week 1, week 2, week 3 until you know what these teams can do. But anyway, that's there's a lot of work I have to do on that one. The Giants went to Dallas last night and
stunk it up.
Oh boy. That offensive line, Eli's a good quarterback. I'm never going to say he was a great quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. And got 2 Super Bowl rings. You can't argue with that. But a lot of that comes from what's around you. Do you have a running game? They don't. Do you have an offensive line? They don't. It's going to be tough for this team to live up to expectations. Now, they didn't have Beckham yesterday, and that does make a difference. We have Brandon Marshall on one side and Beckham on the other side. You open things up. And Eli will be able to do more with that. But that didn't happen yesterday, and the Cowboys took advantage. The Cowboys are another story. Boy, I don't know. I don't know what to think about Dallas. When you play a team that can't score and gives up field position, et cetera, you can't really take much measurement out of that going forward. Now, they're going to Denver this week. We haven't seen Denver play yet. They don't have a top-flight quarterback, but they do have a top-flight defense and running game, especially the defense. So it's going to be a different game for Dallas to go there and play against that type of quality when they had all the advantages last night when they played the Giants. They're not going to have that, and they're going to be on the road. So that's a tough one. There's a lot of work to do on that one. There's no line. I don't see a line on that game at all. I see one guy put out 1.5 Dallas.
Yeah, be around pick 'em. Kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, when you get you're right. When you get a team like Denver, who's playing the Monday night game, one of the Monday night games, and they could get somebody hurt, and they're going to have a shorter week, but they're not going to have to travel. You might take a lead on something like that, and that's probably why that line is where it is. So I think we covered most of it. We didn't talk. Oh, I know we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about Kansas City and New England. That's another shit show. That's one of my favorite terms these days. Philadelphia, who used to be coached by Andy Reid, is going to Andy Reid's home. And he's going to play Kansas City. He was at 10 days of rest after beating New England, shockingly beat New England on the road. And that's going to be an interesting game because Philadelphia's coming off a very satisfying road win in a division game, which is primo game. You got to win your division games. And they did. And that's very impressive. Although, maybe Washington isn't the greatest team in the world, but still, that's a tough spot. You don't win games on the road in division unless you really play well. And Wentz played extremely well. They have talent. Their coaching staff's doing a good job. This is going to be a tough game. This game's 4.5, opened 47.5, 48. It's settled at 4.5, 47.5. The way I thought I was watching Alex Smith when he was playing under Urban Meyer back in Utah State when he was in college.
Utah, yeah.
The way was it Utah or Utah State?
Utah, yeah, the Utes, they won undefeated.
And, he just opened it up. He showed arm strength. Now, maybe because they drafted Patrick Mahomes and he sees that kid who's got a monster arm sitting on the sideline ready to take his job, he said, maybe I have to go out there and start playing.
Or at least throw a few bombs and hit them.
Right. And he hit them.
He sure did.
And they got some talent on that team. Well, we know that Andy Reid can coach. He's always been a good coach. So, that might have been the fire under. I'm not going to knock Alex because this guy has led the league in percentages, in touchdowns to interceptions, great winning percentage. He got replaced by Kaepernick in San Francisco when he was like winning 14 out of 16 games. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. That kind of decision was an unbelievable decision. But that's what they do in this league. They do strange stuff. But anyway, this is going to be a good game. This was probably one of the best games next week. There's no question to watch. This is going to be interesting because Philadelphia looks, right now, when you look at Dallas with all that youth on defense, Giants with offensive line that's pathetic, Washington with their issues, Philadelphia right now, today, would have to be the favorite to win this division. They are healthy, they're talented, they seem to be well coached. Their quarterback is young and talented. That's a good team. I'm sure Andy Reid's going to want to kick their butt because he was there for a number of years, and you always want to knock off the people that you were with before. And New England, that's another issue. They're going to play New Orleans. They're 4.5-point favorite on the road at New Orleans in the Dome next Sunday. Boy, you got Tom Brady and Drew Brees, two old timers, two of the best, and they're going to light it up.
Boy, did that game open 6? The Patriots 6 a couple days ago?
I did not see any opening higher than 4.5.
Okay.
Nothing.
And if the Saints actually win tonight, you wonder if that'll come down to 3.5 or 3 or so.
Well, the kind of thing you got, first of all, the short week works against them, and you got New England and Kansas City both have the 10 days off to prepare. And teams that are really good and have talent and have good coaching staffs, especially that, they seem to bounce back off bad games. And that was a bad second half for New England against Kansas City. Oh, and remember, if the refs didn't call back the Gronkowski touchdown, it would have been 14-0, and that the barn door might have been open.
Could have been a blowout for the Patriots. It really
Yeah,
could have. It was a strange game.
definitely could have been. And I watched that replay. I didn't think that they should have taken that back. However, they did, and I got to give credit to Kansas City for what they were able to do. Now, they lost Edelman, talking about New England. Amendola got hurt. Hightower got hurt. They have some issues, physical issues. They're the better team than New England. That's why they're favored, of course. So we'll see tonight how good this Saint team looks and how healthy they can come out of that game. But this is a home opener for them, and they can play well at home. They don't always, but you're playing the world champs who are coming in angry and embarrassed of what they did the other day.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a dangerous spot right there.
Yeah, you don't see the Belichick's teams losing 2 in a row very often. 2 years they did. They actually had two-game losing streaks, and each time in the second game they were favorites of 9.5 and 10 and lost both. So, which Patriot team is this going to be this season?
Well, everybody was betting them to go undefeated.
Yeah, not anymore.
Those tickets are all gone. You don't want to punch the bully in the mouth, which is what Kansas City did to them. But you got to remember too, a home dog in this situation. This is a pretty good team. These Saints. We'll see tonight how good they are because not everybody lives up to expectations. But I would be on the dog here or no one. But it will depend on how physically well they come out of tonight's game. I have baseball games up today. I have football games up for tonight. I have opinions up for tonight. And by the end of today, I will have college football and pro football plays up if not tonight, by tomorrow. I like to pick off some lead numbers at times, and you can tell I've already done a lot of work. That's because the games are being played on Sunday and before, and I mean the whole thing. It's 14, 16 hours a day in football season. Sometimes Tuesday's a little bit of a relaxing day, but not too many other days. But I'm ready, and John will give you the phone numbers and the websites to go to and the offers we have. And I'm ready. I'm cranked up. I'm ready to go. And peace, everybody.
That's right. And a 3-team baseball triple-header from Jim going on Monday night. You can get that at jimfeist.com, as well as an AL West total of the month. Plus, if you want to get free picks every day from our Vegas experts, you can get them on your cell phone. Just text GAME to 64600. That'll do it for the Monday edition of Proline. We'll see you back on Tuesday with another edition. Good luck with the games, everyone.